Welcome to another episode of the Instant Impact Event Show. I am Cheryl Williams.
I'm CJ. How are you?
Are you CJ or are you CJ Williams?
I am CJ Williams.
See, we practiced this intro, but I think what happened was before we got started, all those vocal mouth warm-ups maybe they got to you a little bit.
I think so.
Yeah, because...
Better.
So when you're talking, you got to do you guys do vocal warm-ups or mouth exercises to get yourself ready before you're ready to speak? Let us know.
There's a lot.
Because if you could see, yes, there are. If you could see what was going on before we hit the play button of the record, it was quite something. So
Play button is already always going, but then that's when the action starts.
Okay.
Starts first.
Normally we're like, are we ready? Okay, quiet on the set. Let's go. And we press record, and then we do our clap, and then he kept doing the. I was ready, but okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
I don't know what the whoa.
I don't
that doesn't
know.
help.
I don't know that.
I just felt
That's
like,
really.
I just felt like wowing today. So, you know,
Okay.
it's okay.
It is.
Yes.
Okay. Again, let us know. Do you guys do vocal warm-ups? Oh, speaking of warm-ups, so we have something we want to show, our new debut. It's going to be here all the time now, and it's going to make its first official show debut. Are you ready to show?
Yes.
Okay. We have our official Instant Impact event mugs.
Mugs. Whoa.
They're so cute. So they're making a debut. This is one of those things that
Took
we do.
long enough.
Yeah, they took a while to get here.
Takes you a year. It seems like.
It didn't take that long.
What?
No,
The kids would say that.
it didn't take that long.
6
That's
months.
quite the over-exaggeration.
Yeah, we
But
get a lot of that.
we do every once in a while take a little sip of something, and that's good for vocals. So another thing that's good for vocals is if you are speaking a lot, having something warm. Also, honey helps a lot, and so does lemon. Having some tea, something warm.
There's good sprays out there.
There are. You just got to watch the ingredients because some of them have extra crap that you don't really need. So just keep it simple. Warm tea, warm water with a little bit of lemon and honey.
Not ice water.
Not really ice.
Because doesn't it freeze up the vocal cords?
It kind of seizes them up, but I love ice. So
That's the ice queen right here.
I've slowed down on my ice crunching. But I like some ice, especially after, you know what the best ice is? When it sits in the beverage, normally water or tea, for a while, or coffee.
Or your coffee, okay.
Either one.
Okay.
It sits in there long enough that the ice becomes somewhat soft, so you're not just crunching on like a block of ice. That's what, and then growing up, the best ice. Okay, have you guys, there's all kinds of different kinds of ice. You got the ice trays, you have the ice that comes out of the ice makers, you have like rectangular, and you have the squares, like boxes. Okay, the best ice. Now, we didn't go there very often, are the little pellets. You know the little pellet ices that you can crunch right away, and it's good? It's like...
Yes,
it's like
Sonic, right?
Well, the one who had it back in the day was Hardee's.
Okay.
And we didn't go to Hardee's very often, but when we did, I went for the pellet ice. So if anyone knows, does any place like that have the pellet ice anymore? Because I like pellet ice.
Sonic is not pebbles, but it's little pieces.
I have to figure out what I get to drink at Sonic. I don't think they have very good tea.
Yeah, tea. Different kind of teas.
Yeah.
Unsweet.
So, yeah. Anyways,
Aren't they all sweet?
I don't know. We're not really, we don't go to Sonic very often.
For the kids.
But that's my favorite. That was my favorite kind of ice. And if I can find it to this day, it takes me back to like when I was, I don't know, 7, 8, something like that. When pellet ice.
Yes.
It crunches different. It's easier on the teeth. It's more like snow. You know, when snow and just kind
I
of.
can make you some snow. No. Yellow snow.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know that snow would be very edible. So.
So the topic today is one-on-one versus many. No. Coaching versus speaking.
But it was
Speaking
one-on-one versus
many.
one to many.
One to many.
Yes.
Yes.
So you're one person, and are you going to be going speaking or helping or servicing one other person? Or are
many.
you going to be working on the same amount of time?
Yes.
You know, providing value to more people, and that's really what it's about. So that's the topic today. And I mean, a lot of people have experience in coaching. Not as
Yes.
many people have experience in speaking. And if you can be a coach and you can sit there and you can talk to someone on the phone or through the computer or in person on that more one-on-one. Now there's lots of different types of coaching. You're not just saying like you're only going to
correct.
you're only going to be coaching to one person, but a lot of times when you're a coach, you are doing that one-to-one coaching.
You did a lot of that.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
and I mean there's a time and a place for everything. You have to start somewhere. You
Right.
kind of get it going, but what happens is once you get into the coaching space, you kind of
life.
you stay in that space because you're so locked in.
And you're literally locked in the room because it's one-on-one while you're on the phone.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the phone hangs up, you get to eat real fast and then get back on the phone.
But why is that? I mean, as a coach, and I did that for many years. As a coach, you don't make money when you're eating. You don't make money when you're using the bathroom. You don't make money when you're making your meals. None of those things. The only time that you'd be making money is when you were actually on the phone because people are paying for either a one-on-one time or maybe they paid for a session of times or maybe, you have it set up where they get 3 months of coaching or 6 months or a year and you have a specific time and a specific day that you speak to them in person, on the phone, through the computer, whatever you're doing. And so as a coach, most coaches, and if you're a coach, say I, because I'm sure you're in the same boat.
Yes.
You stack your schedule back to
Back to
back
back.
so that you can get as many people on your books as possible
Yes.
throughout the day. But then it's not just one day you're doing this. No. It is Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday. And sometimes, Sunday is a day. So if you could squeeze some more in there,
That's right.
you would. And, some people are on the East Coast and some people are on the West Coast. So just because it's 6 o'clock where you are, if you're Pacific time, well, it could be 9 o'clock Eastern. So you could have some people who are over here that you could start coaching, from sun up past sundown.
Correct.
And it's a continual vicious
Cycle.
because that's where you're getting your monies from. And so when we're talking one-to-one, that's what you're doing. Now you could have maybe some group coaching that you do, and maybe you have a handful of people, or you have once a month or once a week when you have a group of people get on, but you're still doing a lot of times that one-on-one coaching. The challenge with that is that's you only have so much time in your day, and so if you're doing that, most coaches are not charging enough for their value.
No.
And so they get stuck.
Double and triple that price.
I charge X amount, and that's how much I charge, and that's what the investment is to work with me. But then again, is that enough to pay your bills? Is that enough that you can actually have a life?
Right. Most likely, no.
Most coaches are very undercharging, right? They're way under. Now that
For a long time.
There's one of two reasons for that. Is it that's what they've always charged? That's where they think maybe I'll increase it, $50. Woo, right? Or I'll increase it, over here. Or they've been with me a long time. This is what I've been doing. Or it's that they don't have enough confidence in themselves that they could charge more.
Right.
Now, when you're charging more, you might not be able to keep the same clientele or people that you have with you because they're used to you charging down here.
You're going to have a little drop off.
You have to be okay with saying, no,
Yes.
I am worth more than this. I'm willing to let all of this go over here, and I'm willing to build over here because I know that's what I'm worth. I know that I'm worth more. When you're trading hours, for dollars over here. And so when you're doing the one-on-one game, you got to charge more to make it worth more your time. But that's also why people stack their schedules, and there's a lot of burnout. There's a lot of turnover because how can you foresee yourself doing this for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years when you're just on this vicious
it starts
every
affecting
single day?
you in a negative way.
Well, it does. And because as a coach, you're sitting there
Yes.
and you are just listening and bringing in
all those
of
challenges
everyone's
from
crap,
everyone else.
right?
Yes.
You're almost like their therapist in a
Yes.
way that they're coming to you with all of this, and they're basically just it's verbal vomit is what they're
Right.
giving
They'll
you.
speak their crap first, even before you get into it.
Well, because you got to, how
Mostly,
are you doing?
how you doing? What's going on? Well, this is happening, and this is happening. This is why I didn't do what you told me to do last week.
And that's the other thing that's frustrating as a coach too is you tell them, okay, we're going to work through this. We've gotten you over here. Since the last time we spoke, how about all these things? You got your notes like what we talked about? No, I didn't really do that. So then we're back to kind of that, well, why didn't we? And what's, you got to weave them through this. And so you're just constantly the sounding board for everyone else's bullshit, right?
Yes, and no way for you to get rid of the bullshit.
And so it's like, once you get in that, it's like, well, I have X amount of sessions with them. They paid for 3 months, right? And they get one call a week, or they paid for a year, and you're already locked in. Either they're paying you, they paid you up front, they're paying you monthly. Never ever should you take the money on the back end, like after you've already provided the service.
Never.
So if you do that, you need to stop right now and start getting, whether you charge them monthly up front for the month in advance, whether you're, 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever that is, but never should you be billing them after the work is done, after you've already coached with them, that has to be done on the front end. But even more than that is you need to be charging more. But with that, you need to be providing more value.
Yes.
You can't just charge more and be like, well, I'm going to charge more.
Right, and just have the same conversations.
Well, you need to start looking at yourself and say, okay, what am I worth, right? What's my worth? And if I'm worth X over here, why am I charging this down? Maybe because you have a confidence problem, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you have a challenge that you don't believe
in yourself.
That you can, ask for this investment over here. Is it because you don't think you can get them from A to B? Is it because you undervalue yourself? What's going on there with you? And you've really got to look at that when you're in the mix of this, because that is the challenge. When you start getting on your coaching and you're doing it again and again and again, you kind of get stuck. And it's like, well, how do I even get out of this?
Right.
This jail I created for myself.
Right. Then it's even harder when they want to do their own event for many. Because their confidence. You're going to
undercharge then too.
Right. You're going to undercharge, and you don't have the confidence to even think out of that box in the first place.
Correct. And so that is something, like, if you're currently a coach, you need to look at and assess, who are you coaching? What are you charging?
Yes.
What is the investment to work with you? How often are you talking to them? What results are you getting for them? And where are you? And then look at it. How can you charge more? How can you create more value so that you can ask for a bigger investment? So that maybe you can create some room in there where you don't have to block off every single hour of the day to be able to coach and to be able to work just to, make ends meet.
You can, instead of 8 to 10 a day, you will do 3.
Right.
And spread out, not back to back. You can have time to have lunch, have time before dinner, whatever you need to do. Spread that out so you can have a life again.
Yeah, because that's where I was at for a while. I was like, he was bringing up food, and oh my gosh, and he'd see my calendar. This is why he had his own stuff going on, but I was over here stuck in my dungeon, basically my room, and I would go in there in the morning and
keep the kids quiet.
Yep, and then this is even before kids, before and during. Okay, gotta keep them quiet. I'm busy. I gotta do this. And it's like, wait a second. Wait, take a step back. Like, what the hell am I doing? Like, why?
Breastfeeding.
All that. It was a mess, right? And it's like, there's all kinds of things that are going on, but no way was that what I initially signed up for, right? But that is what I created for myself, because I said yes to every single one of those things. And yet, in order to continue to grow, it's like, well, this is what I'm charging, or different times you're working with other people too, and this is what you're getting paid. Maybe you're coaching for someone else under them, and they're you're giving, so you have an X amount that you are getting paid for that. Well, Correct. If I want to make whatever you want to make, you got to fill it in. You work backwards. Like, okay, well, in order for me to make this over here, I have to work this many hours a day. This is how many coaching clients I need. This is what I've got to do. But then you start suffering. Are you taking care of yourself? Because how can you give back and back and back? You got to have some decompression time to let go of all the nonsense you've heard throughout the day to be able to move forward for the next day, right? Also, how is your health, right? How is your mindset? How are your relationships? Like, all of these things begin to suffer after a while. And that's why even if you are a coach, we implore you to charge more if you are wanting to stay as a coach, and that's what you're wanting to do.
Make time for yourself.
Make time for yourself. But also, why are you doing the one-on-one? Right? One-on-one should be, if you are giving your one-on-one attention, people should be paying a premium for that. If not, they can be in a group coaching setting where you can be helping everybody with the same issues, the same challenge at the same time, answering the same questions week in and week out.
You could even ask for those questions ahead of time, so you already know what your layout is gonna be.
And so, there's different ways to slice the pie, right? It's like, which slice are you just left with versus you could slice it a way that you actually like it, that it works for you. And so look at what you're currently doing and be like, am I charging a premium for my one-on-one? And if you're not, you need to change that. Maybe you move to a group coaching setting. Maybe you transform and change things around. And you can do that in the coaching setting.
You could do less calls, but just only have 4 or 5 people on that call instead of 30.
Yep.
Because people will feel like they're left out or didn't get their question answered or have attention because they're paying something, so they want that attention.
Yeah, but it's also how you set up expectations, right? It's like you can hear other people's questions and you're getting value from that as well, right? Because sometimes you're like, well, I don't know what question I should be asking, or that's something, or so you can learn from other people's challenges, experiences, conversations, and questions.
Few that would get upset just
then
because.
They need to. If
and
they're
that's
wanting,
the ones you can let go of first.
If they're not willing to invest, then it's time to let them go, right?
Yes.
You've got
you're fired.
Yeah, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with, hey, look, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. Take it or leave it. And no harm, no foul. I wish you the best, but we're just not a good fit anymore, right?
Yes.
I'm changing my business model. I'm changing up the coaching that I'm doing, and I'm going this route.
Correct.
And it's time to get the tire kickers off so that you can focus.
Yep.
But
the boot.
The other option is what?
Too many. To get on stage, to build a plan, you have your subject already because that's what you're coaching on. Then you can also start building a team, figure out, hey, I can do maybe small events. Instead of having, a couple people, maybe I can do one for 30 to 50 people. So what am I going to need for that? Am I going to need some AV? Am I going to have to have a bigger layout to what am I going to speak on exactly to get through the whole event and start building that way? Then you need to market and all that.
Right. So you can transition your coaching that you're doing into events, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you're able to
You're just going to have to make some tweaks.
You're going to have to, if you're able to speak on a one-on-one setting,
yes.
It is different getting up on stage and speaking
and
up
having
in
a
front of people.
microphone in your hand.
It is. Yep. It's different, right? And yet it's different. It might be a little difficult, right, for some, but guess what? That's okay. You can do hard things.
Yes.
You can do challenging things.
Yep.
And just think about what time are you freeing up? How is this in line
instead
with
of calls every day, all week, to having one event once a month or something?
How is this in line with the lifestyle that you're wanting to create? How are you shifting this? And so, yes, I mean, starting off and saying, I want 500 people in a room. If you can do that, great.
Go for it.
But guess what? 30,
Takes
50,
time.
100, 150, 200. Start somewhere.
Yes.
Start with where you're at and grow and move and change and shift.
Each event.
And when you're doing that one-to-many model, you're able to get out there. It frees up a lot of your time. Not to say that you couldn't continue with your coaching, because you can. It's not an either or, it's an and.
Yes.
You can do coaching and speaking. And what you could start doing, though, is you could start having your speaking that you're doing, and then the coaching that you're doing is a group coaching type of session.
Yes, that you already have set up.
So you have that set up. You have specific topics or maybe weeks that you cover certain things, and you put them through that. And then you still have room that if you are wanting to do that one-on-one coaching, then that's a premium. That's something.
Yes, that's the high ticket.
That is, access to you comes at a premium now.
High ticket,
You're not just willy-nilly out there for everyone to just come and suck the life out of you, right? You now are putting a higher price on you. You value yourself more.
Yes.
Therefore, you're going to charge more. The investment to work with you is going to be more. But guess what? Knowing that, you're going to be giving more, and you're going to be able to give more because you freed up your time from just spinning your wheels from call to call to call to call to call to call to call. That, hey, we are now having an event. Then we're having a group coaching, and then I still have time left over
for the high ticket
for my higher end clients that I'm going to work with. That's who I do one-on-ones with.
Who's going to listen even more because they spent more.
Right. People who, put more in, get more out, right?
Yes.
The less that they put the minimum in amount of work, amount of money, amount of time, they're going to get that out. Versus the people who see the value in you and what you provide and what you're giving to them, and that you're pushing them, and you're going to see better results because they've invested more, you push them, and then they go do. Right? And so you're going to have better testimonials. You're going to see better value that you're creating.
Yes.
All of these things change and shift just by you shifting your mindset and shifting your model, right? When you shift your mindset and say, okay, I'm done with just the back to back to back. I'm done with week in and week out. I'm doing the same shit over and over again.
Yes.
That you're changing it up, right?
And then they could also have their own coaches.
Yes, I mean that's a.
Yes.
There's levels to this.
Yes.
There are.
Yes.
There's multiple
you can train
levels.
your other coaches, and then instead of you doing, you don't want to lose the clientele. You have people that want that one-on-one, but guess what? You can train other coaches to do that for you.
And that's what we're talking about. When you can get out of just grinding through the day, right? Like you're just doing it, and you can actually take a breath and step up and start looking at things from a higher level of overseeing. Okay, wait, this is no longer serving me. This is not working for me anymore.
No.
So what? Now what? So what are you going to continue to bitch and moan and groan about it? Or are you going to say, you know what? No, I'm willing to part with what I'm doing over here and step into the little bit of uneasiness, the uncomfortableness, the unknown a little bit to grow and change and take it to the next level. And that's where you have to be okay. You're not going to be able to go from doing this over here to over here 100%. Everything's going. You're going to have to slow this down or bring it to a complete halt and revamp and redo over here. And this is the path. But that unevenness
there's a
in
center
between.
path also. They can speak on somebody else's stages first.
Yeah, and that
will help you build your confidence.
You would have to have time though to do that. Because if you're now speaking on other people's stages, that means you're normally traveling to get there. You got to speak. So yes, there is a medium point in there. But again, you have to be okay with letting this go over here.
Yes, or cutting it in half.
Or letting.
I'm talking about before you get on the stage. You can bring it down and still speak on stages.
I would still say transition.
Well,
over
definitely
here
if they went up with their prices.
Setting. Yeah.
If you went up with your prices.
There's going to be people who aren't going to continue along the journey with you.
Yes. There's a lot of multiple ways of doing
There's
that.
lots of different ways to do this, but you have to figure out for yourself, what do you want, right? And we talk about this all the time. Like, what do you want?
Ask yourself.
Once you figure out what you want, then you figure out who do you have to become to get there, and then you start changing, you start shifting. And we're not talking about like, well, this is what I want, so I want to put together a year or 2 or 5 or 10 plan to kind of get there. It's like, no, it's like, this is what you want, then it's like when you're driving down the highway, for instance, right? And you're like, oh, I'm driving over here in the left lane, but I need to get off on this exit over here. Do you keep saying, well, I'm going to kind of think about it when everything's good, when everything's clear, and it's
in California,
right?
During traffic.
Like, no, you put on your turn signal and you look over your shoulder and you go, right?
She yells at me all the time.
There is no hesitation.
Put your signal on.
Yeah, you got to signal so everyone else in the world knows what you want to do, and then you go. You don't ask for permission. You make sure, is it safe? Okay, great. Let's move because we're getting off on this exit right here. We're not going to continue down the same highway. We're making a complete turn and we're going a different direction. And that's what you have to be doing in your business, coaching, speaking, and maybe you're a speaker already. How's that working for you, right? Do you like your model? Are you on stages all the time? Are you
do you want to get off those stages and do more of your own?
Are you ready to transition off the speaker circuit where you're just on other people and you're on that merry-go-round? Because that's a whole nother merry-go-round too.
Because your family wants to see you.
Right? So our whole thing is we want you guys to, have events, yes, but we also want you to have a life. We want you to have impactful
and be happy
and profitable in your business, but also like transition that to your life that you actually have. I mean, we all have one life to live over here. Everyone's doing the best they can,
fast.
But it seems like time is kind of like
going faster,
speeding up over here.
It is,
and it's going by like, right? And you don't want to look back and be like, dang it. I said 5 years ago, this is what I wanted to do, but I'm still doing the same thing over here because I didn't feel comfortable. Or I didn't want to do a scary thing. Or
I put the brakes on that
I
real
wasn't
quick.
sure. So, I didn't exactly know. So I didn't do it. It's like, no, it's time to change. In order for things to change,
you must change.
have to change. And you have to be okay with letting go of, the security, letting go of the safety, so you can take that flying leap forward and actually get what you want. Go after what you want, right?
And ask yourself over and over, what do I want?
And it's okay if it changes. Maybe you're here and you jump over here, and it's like, okay,
it's just a pivot.
Yourself, what do you want?
It's just a pivot.
It's like, oh, you know what? This is not really what I really wanted this over here. All right.
It's okay. It's your life.
Jump again, right?
Yes.
And that is one thing I will applaud us for doing.
We're like this. Wait.
We can pivot,
quick,
change,
in a heartbeat,
jump, and move at a moment's notice, right? Because we are we have always asked, what do I want? Is this serving us? Is this really what we want?
No.
Okay, then what do we want? We're over here, go, right?
It's the fastest way to get there.
How do we change? If this is not serving us any longer, this is not what we want. We thought it was, but now we're really looking at it from this angle. No, we really want this thing over here.
Correct.
Then pivot, jump, change, and go. Because the more that you hem-haw around, the more that you second guess
yourself. Time goes by.
The more that you're
it's going to be harder for you when you want to do it.
What about the kids? Or
this and that.
We've got this thing coming up over here. Maybe we should just wait. Or it's like, no. If you decide this is not the path that you want anymore, this is not where you're going, this is not the direction, then change it quickly. Move it.
Yes.
I mean, that's what you got to do, right?
Yes.
And so.
Not a discussion next Sunday.
Right. It's like,
no.
And that's where open, honest communication
with your family.
With your family, with your partner, in your business, whatever you're in, but most importantly, with yourself, right?
Right.
I mean, you can't bullshit a bullshitter, right? And so if you're constantly bullshitting yourself, it's like you're putting that out there, like, be real, be honest, be open, and be okay with, you know what? I don't like this anymore. Like I did in the beginning, maybe a couple years ago, but now that I've been doing it, can I see myself doing this for the next 5, 10, 15, 20? No. Okay. Well, if you're not going to be able to, then what do you want? Where do you see yourself going? And get there.
Course correct.
Go.
Yes.
Jump. Move. And then you'll land.
And it's okay.
And then you'll be like looking around. Okay, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Okay.
Right.
Now, do I like this? Is this okay? Let's do it for a while. Let's try on this pair of shoes. Let's see how they fit. Right. Let's do it for a while.
My toe hurts. I don't like it.
Right. So then what do? You keep wearing the same pair of shoes that hurt your feet?
No, you get rid of them or return them.
You change. Yep. You move. You pivot. You go. And that's the main thing. Is so many people get stuck in this indecision or don't want to look a fool. Or, don't want to hurt someone's feelings. Or it's like, well, it's just easier to just kind of stay in this lane right now. What are people going to say? Who gives a shit, right?
Don't worry about that.
Go.
That's the last thing you should be worried about.
You've got to do you.
You've got to live
you and
your family.
Your life. You've got to take care of your family, your needs. And the other thing is, while it's all about you at one point, then it becomes all about everyone else. Because when you're in a place that you feel good about yourself, you're on the right path, you're on the right track, you're out there doing what, providing the value of the service and helping as many people as you can, then guess what, that grows. And then you help more people, right? And you're out there, you're making a bigger impact. Yes, you deserve to get paid for that impact, but the bigger impact that you're making, the more that you're able to get out there and help more people. And anyone who is a coach or a speaker or an entrepreneur, everyone wants to help someone. That's why you're doing what you're doing.
Yes, serve others. Yes.
You want to serve others. You want to make an impact and a change and help. Well, if you're stuck over here and not feeling real good about yourself and what you're doing, you're not making the impact. You're not making the change. You're not serving anyone.
No, so, you're not even going to put yourself out there.
Right. And so then you stay over here in your quiet little bubble, and it's like, I don't want to, ruffle any feathers.
No, it's time to bust out.
It's time to stop dimming your light. It's time to let it shine bright, right?
Yes.
We are all here put on this earth for a purpose.
Bright. Yes.
And you've got to shine. And don't let anybody else or yourself deter yourself from your light that you have to shine. Get out there and shine the bright light. It is a dark world right now.
Yes,
right?
it is.
There's a lot of crap going on. But guess what? The more lights that shine, the more that everyone illuminates,
you can lead your own path,
and radiates, the brighter it becomes. So look at yourself and look at what you're doing and where you're at and ask yourself, am I living my full potential? Am I doing what I'm called to do? Am I staying in this safe zone that I'm in? Am I not willing to get uncomfortable? What do I want? Who do I have to become? And how am I going to go out there quickly and get it?
And getting uncomfortable is okay. You need to push for more uncomfortability.
Yeah.
You want to be uncomfortable so you'll be able to figure out every little challenge that comes by. Then you'll know ahead of time that I can get through this with no challenge.
It's like there's a difference between like putting yourself in harm's way and knowing like, okay, this is dangerous versus this is just uncomfortable right here. Like when you're working out, you should be pushing yourself for uncomfortable, right?
Yes.
When you're going through life and your business, you should be pushing yourself to that edge where, hey, this is a little uncomfortable, but guess what? From that's where you grow. That's where the change happens in that uncomfortability.
That's when an explosion happens.
So it's time to get uncomfortable. It's time to shift and move and change and get out of your box of where you're at, because that's what you've been doing for X amount of time. And it's time to level up.
And bust
it's time to play a bigger game. It's time to like shine your light bigger and brighter. And that comes from
break out,
figuring out where you're at, where do you want to go, change it up,
ask
get
yourself, what do you want? What do you want?
And get uncomfortable. Be willing to get uncomfortable. The more uncomfortable you are, the closer you're going to get to where you want to be. Because in this place of comfortability is just mediocrity. You're not growing. You're not challenging yourself. You're not changing, which means you're not challenging anybody else. You're not living the biggest impact that you can live. So what we implore for you after this call is to look and see, what are you doing? How are you just kind of going along and getting along?
Do you have any plans of any kind?
How can you change it up, challenge yourself, pivot, move, grow, change to take it to that next level? And then, of course, that's not going to be the be-all, end-all.
No.
Then from that, it's going to be the same thing. Like we're constantly leveling up. You're constantly going through these cycles. And it's okay to be somewhere for a little bit and look around and be, okay, what's the next challenge?
Yes.
Where's the next thing? Where are we going? Because that's how you get results. By continually moving and changing and growing, that's where you make the bigger impact.
That's it.
All right. So, like we always talk about, what are the actionable takeaways? What are you going to do? What components are you going to take? It's not enough to just listen. You've got to take action. You've got to take action. And it's consistent action that you're taking. And that's why we keep these shows, bite-sized. We don't make them hours on end. Nope. We keep them short and sweet, and we keep consistently bringing them to you so that you can take action on each of these things, right? So that you can say, okay, listen to that. I'm fired up. It's not enough to be fired up, right? We don't want the rah-rah. We want the change. We want the challenge. We want the growth.
What
and the way
changes
that
are you going to make?
Get that is by actually listening, applying, and taking action. Okay?
Correct.
So what are you going to do right now? What are some of the things that popped into your head? What are some of the things that you thought about? How are you going to take those, apply it, and start making those changes? Start shifting it up. Start changing, who your clientele are, who your coaching clients are, what events that you're doing,
who you're hanging
what
around,
you're charging, like what your worth is.
Who's in your circle?
Figure that out, change it up, and then go. Don't overthink it. Go, move, start making progress, start making those shifts and those changes. And then we want to hear, like, what are you changing? Yep. What are you doing?
Don't hesitate to reach out.
And make sure you're, what helps us is by sharing this. If we've helped you, share it with somebody else. Whether they're in the event industry, whether they're a coach or a speaker or an entrepreneur, we're here. We want to help you guys. And the way that you can help us is by, sharing this. Make sure that you follow us and like and subscribe and all those kind of things.
And we're here for you.
And we're here for you guys. So ask us questions, you give us your feedback. We want to hear, what are you doing? Where are your challenges and struggles? How can we help you? And let's start building an even bigger
community.
Event and impact community, because that's what we're here for. And remember, at the end of the day, it only takes an instant to make an impact. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.